Imagine this, the final in Cincinnati, Jannik Sinner against Carlos Alcaraz. It was supposed to be one of the biggest showdowns of the season, the kind of match fans dream about, the kind of match that defines careers. But instead of fireworks and brilliance, what the world saw was heartbreak. Sinner didn't even get the chance to fight for the title. He was forced to withdraw, and this wasn't simply a case of bad luck or coincidence. What happened in Cincinnati was the result of something much deeper, something far more frustrating. It was the product of an event that failed its players, failed its fans, and failed the very sport it was supposed to celebrate. For an entire week, the conditions were brutal. Players were pushed into suffocating heat, with temperatures soaring well over 32 degrees, combined with a humidity that felt unbearable. Imagine having to sprint, serve, and rally at the highest level in those conditions. You'd think a world-class tournament would provide solutions, plenty of water stations, cooling fans, shaded recovery areas, but what did Cincinnati 2025 offer? Almost nothing. Water stations were few and far between, misting fans were practically non-existent, and the shaded spots were so limited that both players and spectators were left helpless. It wasn't just uncomfortable, it was dangerous. Fans in the stands collapsed from the heat. On court, French player Arthur Rinderknecht fell apart physically. Alexander Zverev, one of the toughest fighters on tour, looked completely drained during his semifinal. Daniil Medvedev, a man known for his endurance, was forced to shove his head into buckets of ice water just to cool down and survive another set. And then there was Sinner. By the time he reached the final, his body was already at its breaking point. He wasn't stepping onto that court with the energy of a champion ready to fight. He was stepping onto that court already exhausted, already battling against himself, his body screaming at him to stop. And still, that wasn't the only disaster. On August 11th, as if the players didn't already have enough to endure, a massive blackout struck the entire facility. Suddenly the lights went dark, the scoreboards froze, and even the ventilation systems failed. Imagine being in that stifling heat, trapped inside an arena with no air circulation. Matches had to be halted. The blackout didn't just stop play, it exposed the fragility of the infrastructure, the kind of weakness you'd never expect at a tournament of this scale. Add to this chaos the constant weather delays, storms, rain interruptions, lightning warnings, and the scheduling that made no sense. Instead of adapting and putting player health first, the organizers went ahead with a final scheduled for Monday afternoon, right in the middle of the hottest, most suffocating hours of the day. It was a decision that shocked many, but not Anna Kalinskaya. She had already spoken out earlier in the tournament, criticizing the awful timing of her match against Iga Swiatek. She saw it coming, and she was right. The consequences of this poor planning were unavoidable. Chronic fatigue, dehydration, weakened immune systems. A perfect storm for illness and injury. Sinner admitted he already felt unwell the night before the final. The endless combination of extreme training, endless waiting due to delays, and unbearable heat had worn him down. When he pulled out of that final, it wasn't a simple matter of misfortune. It was the direct and predictable result of a tournament that put revenue and expansion ahead of the very people who give it meaning, the athletes. And let's not forget about the fans. They too paid the price. Waiting zones without any shade left them baking in the sun. The official tournament app, which should have been their guide, was described as useless, filled with unreadable maps that only added confusion. The only thing fans could praise was the shuttle service, but even that was drowned out by complaints about the complete lack of cooling areas. If the organizers couldn't even take care of their paying audience, why would anyone believe they were truly looking out for the players on court? The Cincinnati Masters 2025 was supposed to be a tennis festival, a celebration of athletic brilliance and competition. Instead, it became a case study in negligence. It left Jannik Sinner, the player everyone was waiting to see, too sick and too drained to compete. It left fans angry and dissatisfied. And it left the tournament's reputation stained, perhaps permanently. This wasn't Sinner losing a final. He never even had the chance to step up and fight. This was Sinner being betrayed by the very stage that should have elevated him. Every warning sign was ignored, every mistake repeated, until his body could take no more. He was failed by the organizers, and in the end, the fans were failed too. Now all anyone can hope is that Sinner recovers in time for the US Open, that this setback doesn't rob him of the chance to defend his titles and continue his rise. But the damage is done. The images of players collapsing, of fans fainting, of matches halted by blackouts and storms, those images won't disappear quickly. They will hang over Cincinnati as a reminder of what happens when ambition and money outweigh basic care and responsibility. The story of Cincinnati 2025 won't be remembered as the year of great tennis. It will be remembered as the year Jannik Sinner didn't lose a final. He was stripped of it by the very people who were supposed to protect him.